All right, here we go. This is the shortest 2-minute trailer probably ever. This is going to be your breakdown. Here we go.
Let's move.
We're going to have to go through these frame by frame. This is definitely Genova. A different version of it. The setting is weird. I'm assuming this is in the crater, right? This is the next time we would face Genova in the game. This is my guess of when this is. This would make the most sense.
My fellow citizens, we are assailed on every side by the enormous meteor that looms over our heads.
So this is Diamond Weapon.
Towering monstrosity.
This is our first look at Diamond Weapon. Looks super robotic. Holy, it is. Diamond Weapon is a robot. Look at it.
These termed weapons, like the one that made landfall outside Midgar. But I know.
So this is the same weapon we saw in the previous trailer here. This looks like it's outside Medial.
That we will rise to every challenge and show heaven and earth that it.
I think these are the weapons we saw in part 1 and 2. Sorry, part 2. But now they have kind of taken a humanoid-like form due to the meteor and the defense of the planet, right? And again, as I pointed out before in previous, huge materia in the chest.
We who reign supreme.
Party. Okay, I saw this earlier. This looks... Oh, this could be in two areas. This could be in the underwater reactor, or this could be in the return to Midgar. I'm gonna guess we can't see it, which is done on purpose, right? I wonder if this is carry armor. It's really hard to tell. It doesn't look like it, but it could be.
You said.
And then here we see this thing flying around. So my theory here is that this is going to take over how in the original we fought against Ultima Weapon. And if you recall, you fight him in the sky and you go around, and then he eventually goes down, and then when you defeat him, he creates a crater and he creates a new accessible area in the world map. I feel like this is going to fill that spot, and Ultima Weapon might have some different purpose. So he releases like a huge EMP.
You said weapons are guardians.
And these are these planes and missiles we saw just earlier in the trailer.
The planet, right?
Yeah, he breaks everything. It's like a gigantic EMP, destroys everything.
Planet sees us as another threat to
We're on the high wind, chasing this thing down.
You call them planet.
And then go back, we're going to listen to the dialogue here. Here we see the introduction of the major weapons.
You said weapons are guardians of the planet, right? The planet sees us as another threat to her well-being, and rightfully so.
So the weapons are defending the planet. The weapons see us as a threat to her, right? So yeah, it's in line with the original.
You call them planetary warriors.
Planetary Warriors. Ruby Weapon looks crazy. Then we get our first look at Emerald Weapon.
I call them weapons of mass destruction.
And it's very short. Damn, this is short.
But I call
It looks so sick, though. We're going to go through this by frame. We get a more full shot. There's again, of course, with the weapons, the giant materia.
Weapons of mass destruction.
So again, these giant materia we're seeing. So this was the Jabberwock we fight in Rebirth. This was linked to an enemy skill materia, I believe.
One thing to do, we fight.
And as you can tell, sorry, as well in the background, so this is clearly Cosmo Canyon, and it was discussed, I believe, in previous interviews and kind of what we've seen from the other trailer. The environments that we've been to in Rebirth are going to be the same, but they've overgone some hauls and changes just due to the effects of the weapons and everything going on to the planet.
Only one thing to do.
So you can see there's all this water here that was not here previously in Rebirth. But we still see the ramps and the things for our chocobos. How that's going to affect traversal now will be a little bit interesting to see how these changes take place.
We fight.
So they're showing Tifa, right? And the it's not the job system. I'm blanking on what it is, but they're showcasing this, right? In her mage class. And then we see Typhon. Let's go back here really quick. So we have some sort of giant helipad here. This looks like that might be how we either further explore or head back up to the high wind. As we explore down here, this looks like a choco stop in the beach. This looks like this is either, this looks, I wanted to say like Costa del Sol, but I'm gonna guess Medial is tropical. Yeah, that's Medial. And then of course here we are, Wutai. Happy Turtle.
Taking down weapons, hunting material.
Here we see the huge materia, right? We know huge materia is part of the plot in part 3, or this segment of the original, right? And coming back here, we're gonna see these huge materias in the weapons.
But I call them weapons of mass.
Let's go back to Ruby weapon.
Planetary.
You can't see his materia. They're not showing us.
You call them planetary warriors.
We can't see.
But I call them weapons of mass destruction.
Purple. The other one was green. So it's just interesting to see, right? Because I think this is significant, because in the original, the huge materia,
Taking down weapons, hunting material.
the huge materia, and they are in fact huge. This looks like it fits in a weapon. This is of course aboard the high wind. How this is going to be changed or different, I'm curious. Because in the original, we also turned the huge materia into actual material we could use, and it led to some of the best materia in the game from what I remember.
Way overdue for a day off.
And then this was, what the fuck? This is the submarine segment, and Emerald weapon is here? So I hope we don't kill Emerald weapon here.
Once we've got
I want to fight Emerald weapon as a super boss like we did in the original. I want to fight all the weapons as if they're a super boss. I'd imagine at least 1 or 2 of them will be part of the story. Only time will tell how that's going to play out.
future to fight for.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Nothing will stop us. Once we've got a
Hunting materia.
Let's listen to Cloud.
Way overdue for a day off.
once we've got a future to fight for, nothing will stop us.
Ready? Aim! Fire!
So here's us fighting this other unnamed weapon. This is the smaller weapons, let's just call it that.
We'll finish
He's got a giant green materia
this
in him.
together.
That's that. That's it. That's the trailer. That is that.
And it sees us as another threat to our well-being. And rightfully
Yeah. So there's the smaller materia, right? And all these other weapons have this as well. But then there's the giant materia. You're going to notice from what we had in Rebirth, this was very similar to what happens to Tifa in the live stream segment, which was something completely new during the Gongaga set of the story, right? But this is pretty crazy of just this, the way this thing is changing the weather and everything around it as we're fighting it. And again, these weapons are being cast out and fighting in defense of the planet. Why we get caught up in this, time will tell. I have a feeling things might be slightly different, considering the fact that what we saw from the previous trailer, Midgar forces, or Shinra forces, I should say, are like trying to fight these things as well. Whether this is the fact that just kind of like in the original, Shinra is trying to collect the huge materia for themselves, which would make the most sense. It's totally on brand with what they want. Same thing, they've kind of kept that storyline true here, setting up for the remake series. I think this is probably one of the most interesting pieces here. Going back here too, one thing I want to point out, we have Red, Barrett, Yuffie, Sid, Kate, and Vincent. We do not have Cloud. We do not have Tifa, which aligns also with the original, this part of the story. Both of them are gone, and they are most likely in the Medial area, partaking with everything that same thing to the original, right? I'm not going to get into specifics of that to avoid context spoilers for anybody who doesn't know. Granted, if you're watching this, you probably already understand and played the original to understand this deep dive and stuff we're talking about and going over, right? So I think this shot as well, where to go? Cloud here. With what's might be the carry armor. This is for sure Shinra. I wonder if this is, I mean, it could be anything. But this is all about the weapons, right? The Planet's Crisis trailer is what this is titled. We keep seeing the same weapon, yeah, and again here we have I forget what this guy is called that we fight in part 1 as well as in when we're first in Midgar. But yeah, this is as you can see, Shinra is trying to take these weapons down. This is our escape from the crater. This is the events here when we first get in the Highwind. This looks like this is in line with the original. Weapons are awakened, the black materia, meteors being summoned, right? Just like the original. The black materia goes where it's supposed to. Meteors summoned, weapons instantly are also summoned due to the meteor being called. I think it's really interesting how robotic Diamond Weapon looks. This doesn't look like a monster at all, which is so funny because Ruby Weapon, where are they? I mean, this looks like a monster. This doesn't look like a robot. He looks so ugly, which is like honestly perfect and in line with him.
So
You call them planetary warriors. But I call them weapons of mass destruction.
You call them planetary warriors. I call them weapons of mass destruction.
Only one.
It is kind of funny though, because in the original Ultimate is like literally the weakest weapon out of all of them, and it's like not even close. I'm curious to see how that is. I want to go back here too to look at the shot of Meteor in the background. This looks like it's earlier on, right? Which would make sense with the Medial situation. So let's look at the story. Okay, we're gonna get really specific on this stuff. Go back. Okay, let's count. Let's say Barrett, Red, Sid, Kate, Yuffie. We said Barrett, Sid, Kate Sith, Yuffie, Red, Vincent, Tifa? Yeah, most likely. Yeah, there we see Tifa right there. So that would make sense.
Taking down weapons, hunting materia. Way overdue for a day off.
Taking down weapons and hunting materia, right? So, what is that right there? What is this thing that comes off of Emerald Weapon? This is a crazy change. We weren't sure if what they were going to do for this section. So one, not only do we get confirmation that the submarine section is in here, but fighting Emerald Weapon, and this has to be, right, the underground reactor, which is kind of what we fight around. I think we kind of go past that in the original, from what I can remember of the area, and it's just like some deep craters in the ocean. And there's other Shinra submarines that we have to sink. So this is different. They've tied it in with the weapons here. Assuming this is also not added to that, right? Or this is kind of taking the place of that. It's one or the other. This is either an addition or a substitution.
Once we've got a future to fight for.
Then here we are bombing it. Look at its teeth, dude. This thing looks nasty. Again, right? This is so interesting to see, like, the weapons look like these huge monsters, but Diamond Weapon looks like a robot.
Nothing will stop us.
Ready?
The only thing we haven't seen so far too is Sapphire Weapon, which we know doesn't get his face blown off like he does in the original. So what does that mean for us as well?
Aim! Fire!
And again, right? This would ideally be Ultima Weapon, but this is this no-name lesser weapon.
We'll finish this together.
I think that's pretty much it, right? I think we've gotten most of this. Let's look back at the beginning again. I don't think there's anything else. Let's go through this frame by frame.
Let's move!
What is he swinging at? We are gonna look at this. Sorry, no, we went. What the hell is that? Wait a second. Hold on a second. Whoa. Is this what I think it is? Holy shit. So these are the things that Hojo had in the cells, right? These enemies. I wonder if this is the return to Midgar, but this looks more reactory. But the light's all red. Sid smacks that thing straight in the head. And there's other ones that were around him as well. Yeah, we see another one right there behind him. Granted, this is blurry because it's high speed. There's Tifa. Here's Vincent. This is on top of the Highwind. And we're fighting Shinra Shoulders on top of the Highwind. Clear blue skies. So this might sound weird, but the sky looks the exact same color as the time we spent in the... Is it the coral region? It's where we go when we first go to or the Junon region. Sorry, the Junon region. It looks like the same here. So I wonder if this is like our return to Junon. Possibly, but this is definitely what looks to be on top of the Highwind or something Shinra related. This is for sure Genova, even though it's super hard to make out where her body is. And then in this next shot, Here's Cloud, which tells me that this is in fact in the reactor. This is probably going to be one of our, not one of our first boss fights, but earlier boss fights in the game, assuming we're following chronological order. Boom, 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 boom. There's Cloud. So Cloud is here. What is that in front of him? Is that just shit on the ground? Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, Yuffie, Red, Kate. Where's Vincent? Where's Vincent? And that's unmistakably, that's Genova. Okay. And then we get the announcement from Rufus. We're going to change this playback speed.
My fellow citizens, we are assailed on every side.
He's like, guys, it's chopped.
By the enormous meteor.
It's cooked, chat. This looks like the meteor. Look how close it is. This looks similar to the return to Midgar with one of the final scenes before the final descent to the crater. Which would be one of the final boss fights of the game following the chronological order of the original.
That loomed.
Which they're not going to show because that's major spoilers. I don't expect them to show that. But this meteor is huge. It's right here. This is towards the end of the game.
Over our heads.
Then we see our favorite boy.
By the enormous meteor that looms over our heads.
There's Sephiroth smiling.
And by towering monstrosities termed weapons, like the one that made landfall outside Midgar.
One that made landfall outside Midgar. So, as far as I can remember, none of the weapons make landfall outside Midgar. So I'm assuming that could be something different. And as we've addressed, this is not anywhere in the Midgar area. This is Medial. This is again, right? This is why I think this was replacing Ultimate Weapon. Ultimate Weapon comes down, kind of beats the shit out of you, flies away. And then later on, you do your pursuit of him in the sky. This all looks like this weapon is taking the place of that. Ultimate Weapon will serve some further different purpose. Whether he'll be a super boss that you'll need to defeat to get Cloud's ultimate weapon, like you get the original.
That we will rise to every challenge and show heaven and earth that it is we who reign supreme.
This thing's pissed, right? They just drop bombs on it. I think that's good. I think we've gone through everything. We've seen it all at all now. I think we've got pretty much all the details. There's not too much deep dive through HUD and battle tactics like we got in the previous one, but a decent amount of story stuff that we could get. Yeah, I think we've got everything. That's 23 minutes deep dive talking about everything, a little bit of lollygagging, but we kept everything straightforward. That's going to be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your comments down below, anything that you guys noticed. But I think we've pretty much got everything. Anything that I might have missed, please let me know. Seeing this thing fly was really interesting. But yeah, I am going to stick to my theory that this thing is going to replace Ultimate Weapon and how Ultimate Weapon was in the original. I think that's something I feel pretty safe with saying. Looking at this from above, this could be Gungaga, but I don't think so. Hold on one second. So really quick for reference, right? I wanted to pull this up. This is the Gungaga map that we get in Rebirth. This is this, and then minimizing. They're quite different. I was looking at this structure and I thought, what if? But this is just way too much water. Again, we do know that the region's going to change, but I don't think this is going to be a one-for-one of the map layout. I think this is too different. Again, this is the reactor, right? The destroyed reactor, and then just looking here. Sorry. I don't think that's it. That's the only thing that could be. I think this is too different. This looks more Medial based because Medial was a long stretch of land with a lot of water around it. So, okay, that was my last kind of thing I was curious about. But outside of that, I think that's good. We've pretty much broken this down as much as we can. All the juice. Again, I'm excited for this. But yeah, let me know down below what you guys thought. Anything you guys notice as well. We'll have more FF7 content here as well. Until next time, peace and deuces. See ya.